Hello guys, and welcome to Banjo-Kazooie! Yeah, it's back after quite a long while. It's back and stuff. So this episode is called I Hate Underwater Worlds, most probably, unless I change it last minute. And this is because today we're going to be dealing with Treasure Trove Cove and Clanker's Cavern, two main water-based levels, unless you count Rusty Bucket Bay, which is fair enough. So we've just opened Treasure Trove Cove, and let's enter it. So if you don't know the sort of style I do with these videos, it is in essence a tutorial. It's going to talk about what to do, and really the clips which are shown are not like trying to be like the smoothest of things. Mostly it's going to be collecting notes, so that's just the main thing. I think we've just learnt flight pad, and really with anything it's going to be heavily cut, because otherwise it's just going to be massively long. It's going to be like a 1 hour spree, and some people don't like 1 hour sprees. Some people just like to get the information thick and fast, which is fair enough. And I thought, like, there's several new ways I've taken this series. Sometimes you'll see new graphics which I've done, which is slightly improved, and in general that is going to be the way. It's going to be the way that it's done. It's going to be done heavily edited, but in a good sense. So what you have to do here is you have to collect Blubber's gold. Blubber is the pirate on the ship, which he wants his gold. He's lost his booty. That's a weird way of saying things. He's lost his booty, and you need to collect it. It's generally golden stuff in this game, and so as you can see, this is on keyboard, unfortunately, but in general, like, underwater worlds, I've always hated them. Underwater worlds are something which I'm just going, no, that's not my cup of tea. And now you've given all the gold to Blubber, and that is sometimes how simple it is. Like, to start off with, this game is fairly simple, and I may have said some of this stuff. So there is one of your new graphics. It's my new total thing for the amount of total jiggies you've got. There's the bottles for the shock pad, which is fairly important in some areas, especially when we get to Clanker's Cavern, I think, and we just totally failed at that. So basically you have to poop into Leaky, and that will patch up the problem. Destroys the shrapnel, I think that's the name of it. And you can enter the sandcastle, which is obviously good because you want to enter the sandcastle, because that is where you get a jiggy, and also it is a fun place if you're doing some glitches. Anyway, so here we have to spell out Banjo-Kazooie, and I'm going to speed it up. And there we go, that's Banjo-Kazooie spelled out. There you go, 14 out of 41. So as usual, we're trying to collect 41 jiggies here. We're trying to kill Nipper, and yeah, stuff. Sometimes I just don't know what to say with these things. Firstly, obviously, from time to time there'll be music here and there, and that's not because of just like I want to cover up the game sound or whatever, or I want to show off music. I don't, like, it's there to say, well, look, I know you know how to do this, and in essence of like trying to keep it even slightly smooth, I'm gonna stick in a small quick time lapse. There's gonna be areas from time to time where like I just cut out entire segments, because they're just boring. But the segments which I'll cut will contain literally no notes. Like, it will have, you'll not miss a note collected, and you'll not miss a jiggy collected. So here I'm trying to top up on ye olde health, because why not? There's some also like, the people may be asking, well, this is meant to be a glitch run, and yet I'm not really spotting any glitches, and that's because, really, unlike Donkey Kong 64, where the glitches came in, or to start off with, and you had hardly any towards the end, this is essentially, they're a little bit delayed. The first proper glitches you're going to see are in episode 3, so that's could be next week, that could be the week after, depending on 1 or 2 other videos. But in the end, it's always going, like, part 3 is going to be the episode where we do a few really important but really fun glitches, and glitches are something which make the game for me. I'm starting to get more into just glitching, and you can see that, like, you may be able to see just for a second there that Nipper's shell just disappears. I don't know whether that's on the original N64 version. It may be. So here we go. Here's some shock spring notes that we have to collect, and sometimes they take a while. The good thing with shock spring that I like is it's shock spring or is it shock jump? I think it's shock jump. Is that you can do this where, like, you jump onto the ground, and even though it's slightly longer, it's a nice, like, way to, like, get an extended little path. Naturally, you could be asking me right now, well, if I want to do this route, if I want to do the 41 Jiggies route, how would I do it? And that's a good question. I've recently updated my route tutorial. So now that features every possible thing you could really need with this run, aside from obviously where the notes are, because really there's 810 of them which you have to collect. So it's a long way, and the unfortunate thing with this run is part 6, or is it part 5 is going to be a wonderful part because we fly around with the bee, but it's also going to be a place of literally where we're collecting notes all the time. So here we go, time lapse. Here we go. That is your time. That's your 16th Jiggy. Those, if you didn't understand, because I don't think I've really had enough time before saying it, that was mainly just like you had to slam certain pads to get. You had to, like, basically follow a route. It's basically like treasure map in effect. So here's a small segment where we're collecting 3 Jiggies within a short space of time. I do apologise, you're going to probably get annoyed with this jingle. Which is fair enough, because after a while, like, especially if you're like if you're doing Mumbo's Mountain, it's literally dun 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 dum bum ba dum ba dum ba dum bum bum dun 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 dum dum dun 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 bum bum. And yeah, I can understand that would get frustrating after a while. But it's also, for getting back on track, because I've just remembered what initially I was going to talk about. On the guide there, that is probably going to be in the description somewhere, is a guide to how to do this run, and the guide contains the basic route which you need to do. So it says you've got to collect X amount of Jiggies in this world and also X amount of notes. Here's some glitches which you need to do. It doesn't give you anything like some fun little glitches you could do along the way, like the Twinkly Eater skip thing, which you'll see next episode. It also doesn't give what notes and Jiggies to collect, but there is also another section saying, well, here are some great quick Jiggies to collect. They won't be the same as these because literally when I did this a good few months ago, I essentially I just basically collected whatever Jiggies I felt like. It wasn't necessarily the quick ones, it was the whichever ones I could do. One thing I will mention, which we will get back to all the way in part 6 I think, is that there is one Jiggy that we've missed here that you still need to collect, and that I didn't collect aside from obviously this Ginger Jiggy, which is I really picked the wrong Jiggy to go last because Snacker is an absolute knob sometimes, and it is a bad Jiggy to collect. So yeah, I could have done a better Jiggy, in fairness. If you didn't know either, if you're in the air, so like if you're, when I say in the air, like not jumping, but if you're like actually flying, or like you've gotten the flight pad, or you're swimming, you will not get the little cutscene of the dum 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 boom boom ba-dum 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 boom dum. So now, yeah, so you'll want to do those a few times because obviously that saves loads of time. So here we go, we're now unlocking Clanker's Cavern, and there you go. This is a bad level for me. Clanker's Cavern is the one thing, it's possibly my most hated level in this game. And here's something which is really, really important actually, so pay attention here. This is probably the most important thing from this part. You have to activate Mr. Dingpot over here, because that's going to be needed later. Admittedly, you could do this any way up to you could do it in part 3, where like I go to in part 3, and the first half of part 4, but it's quicker if you get it somewhere between Clanker's Cavern and Treasure Trove Cove, so that point would be good to get it. This one is a slight note collecting spree as well. Like as we get further and further on in this run, there will be more, like there'll be less Jiggies being collected per level until we reach Click Clock Wood, in which we collect no Jiggies. So here is classic definition of I'm so poor at swimming on a keyboard, and I'm so poor at swimming in general. And that's because swimming for me is, like, in games is so off. Like, really, swimming mechanics aren't done too well within games. I cannot go the correct direction. Obviously, there's going to be some people who say, well, swimming mechanics are sublime in here. What are you talking about? You just, whatever. But for me, swimming mechanics I cannot get. They're just not something which I can control properly, and yeah. So here's possibly the most dangerous part of Clanker's Cavern, which is freeing Clanker. And I will note that, just in case you didn't notice, this is the N64 version of the game, which means that if you die in a level, you lose all your notes and your best note score is saved. So, for instance, if you've got 75 notes and you die, then your best note score is 75. And then if you go back and get 74, your best note score will still be 75, but you will lose all those notes. So you cannot then collect the remaining 26 notes without collecting the first 74 again. And so this part is dangerous because if you die, which is a real possibility since you're running out of air, if you die, then pretty much you have to do this all over again. And this is how you free Clanker. You just go through that little thing a few times, and Mr. Clanker raises. I quite like Clanker as a character in Banjo-Kazooie. I think he's pretty good. I think they designed him well. So here we're collecting a few notes and Jiggies on top of Clanker. This one is one which you cannot skip by going airborne or underwater unless you use cheats. You could possibly skip it if you use the B. Oh yeah, that's another thing as well. If you're in a transformation as well as a flight pad thing and also swimming, you'll also skip the animation of collecting the notes. So if you can collect some Jiggies as a transformation, all the merrier, even though you may move slightly slower. It depends, you've got to balance out what's slower to get the transformation and walk around as a transformation if the transformation is slow, like the crocodile, or whether to just stick with the animation, which is like 9 times out of 10 it's going to be in the animation, but there's some points where it's quicker to go with the transformation. Did I say transformation twice? I mean, the animation is probably going to be slightly quicker. It depends on where it is on your route. Speaking of the crocodile, if this is your first time of watching like Banjo-Kazooie related stuff, if you've never played the game, then you will not know what the crocodile is, and luckily for me, I will never have to actually go as a crocodile, because we all know the horrible Mr. Vile thing in Bubblegloop Swamp. I will not have to do that, because in Bubblegloop Swamp we won't be Banjo itself. We'll be in another form, which if you pay close attention to glitching, you will know what other form I am talking about. And you stupid snippet. Yeah, we get like these levels done pretty quickly, especially the early ones, and here is something which I fail so epically at, so why not just time-lapse it to save yourself some time. There you go. After about 12 trillion attempts, we finally go through those hoops. And this is the thing, like if you like, I'm playing with a keyboard because like I didn't think I would need to like get anything else, and that's the 23rd Jiggy, by the way. I didn't think I'd need to get anything else. But I'm gonna say this: you will need a controller for some point in this run, which is namely the 640 note door skip, which is a very important part of this run. And so yeah, this one I will note, and quite interestingly, you do not need to use Wonder Wing. It is actually considerably quicker to like the right hand edge as you're walking down to the Jiggy. That is, if you run across that edge, like no matter how quickly or how slowly you'll go, it's a glitch within the game, you cannot get hurt, which is quite interesting. I didn't realise this at the time of recording. I thought, well, Wonder Wing it up, but you can use that. You will skip the notes, but you can, if you're quick enough, collect the notes without getting hurt. And that is something which is used in speedrunning. There is a lot of tactics here which is used in the current speedruns of this game, which is fair enough. I mean, some of these things are going to be for you. Some of these things you're going to say, well, I'm gonna want to do this run because of X, Y, and Z. There's going to be some things which you think, oh god, I don't want to do this because it's terrifying, which is fair enough. You don't actually need to hit that witch switch because because there's witch switches which we'll use later on, and more fun ones as well. One of them we can get a Jiggy without even hitting the switch, which you're probably going to be fairly intrigued about, and which you'll probably see in part 3, which I'm about to record in around about 3 3 minutes, which should be quite interesting. Because, yeah. Some of you may remember the video I did last year called My Current Problem. And that was basically me saying, well, I may not be able to record a lot because of certain instances or certain circumstances. And that's fair enough. I mean, sometimes I can't record because of people are around, but there's a lot of times which I can record, but I prefer, like, I can talk when people are around, like, can film when people are around, when, like, obviously in a secluded room where people are probably not going to hear me, and I've got to be really careful. I can't really die here. I've got 98 notes. I can't die. Yeah, I can record when people are around, just not like in where they can hear me. But I prefer to like record in this sort of situation where like I can talk proper, like I can really belt it out and really go for it, because, well, who's going to hear me? Like, nobody's at home at the moment, so why not? This is the end of the video, by the way. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I've been Balam. This is the end credits. Signing out.